Some of you might like to know a little bit more about our drummer.
Now going back to 40 years of Chick Webb.
Get that.
Is drummer right? Is it okay to say drummer?
Pounding his pulsing beat into the hearts of all America.
You motherfuckers are fucking all over this joint.
You do your kind of drumming, and I'll do my kind of drumming.
I have no more time. You don't know what I love to do.
The only things I care about in this goddamn life are me and my drums and you.
The official explanation was he choked on vomit.
You suppose maybe I could put the drums in your place and sort of drop in once in a while?
Now back to Gene Krupa's syncopated style shortly.
Get up there behind those drums, lean back, close your eyes, get right in the groove there, give it a good steady beat.
I got blisters on my fingers.
I get that.
Okay. I'm in New York City with Zach Danziger. Zach, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, and hope we can pull this. One caveat is that we're in a semi-noisy environment at the Ace Hotel, which is one of my favorite places to grab coffee, but it has a loitering quotient that is second to none, especially in the rain. But we've managed to find some seating. You have headphones on, and you're monitoring as we go, and I think we're looking all right.
I think we're doing really good here. We've got the Social Network sitting with us.
That too.
These guys are creating something very important in the
sure hope so.
Computer field.
Yeah, I benefit from that, so let's hope so.
Now, you were saying this is a favorite old haunt of yours. Is there any particular stories, by the way, at the Ace Hotel?
Well, it started by me coming here too often and spending, I guess now they're up to close to $4 for a cappuccino, which is fine. I don't mind it, except I just kind of got very interested in, can I make something that tastes this good? And I did some research, and I started with a cheap machine. I know we're going off topic, but I'll make this as short as I can.
No, this is right on topic.
Oh, it's on topic then.
Let me just say to the folks that Zach was telling me before we sat down that he got the real deal.
Yeah.
A real machine.
Yeah, by consumer standards, yes. I mean, you don't want to mess with Nespresso or anything you'd find at Williams-Sonoma. That's all well and good. But I got a machine that's imported from Italy. There's very few distributors of it in the States. I'm very into my coffee.
Machine,
It's called a Vivaldi 2 by a company called La Spaziale.
Okay.
And it's quite expensive. And then it's not even the coffee machine, the espresso maker, but you need the grinder, the Burr grinder, and the proper one, which is the top company. It's called Mazzer. And I know it's not an endorsement here. But so I ordered a Mazzer Mini, and I did the math, and I said if I had 1 cup of this cappuccino in my house every day for about 2.5, 3 years, it would pay itself back.
That's true.
So now I come to the Ace for special occasions like this interview, or when I'm just on the run and I haven't had it at home, but normally I'm making this type of thing, latte art and all, in my apartment.
You add the latte art?
Oh, do I ever? Yeah, I'll show you pictures. It doesn't get that, it's not that risque. But,
can you do middle finger?
No, but I'll work on that.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Maybe you could text me one of those someday.
I'll work up
I'd
to
love
that.
to wake up to that one.
That's an aspiring concept. Okay, so enough of that. Let's keep moving, right?
All right, you want to get off the coffee?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, fair enough. Zach, tell us what's going on these days for you. Let's just start there.
Yeah. Well, I have a project called Mr. Barrington, which has been something I've been a part of probably for about 3 or so years, and it started with me and a great keyboard player named Ali Rockberger. It started as just us getting together, jamming out some ideas, and we weren't sure what we were going to do with it. Then we decided, hey, this might be something, so we were looking for a bass player, and at that time I remember going to see the Roots play at a club in New York called the Highline Ballroom, and knew nothing of the bass player except that, well, I just liked the Roots. I wasn't going there to check out anybody. I just liked the Roots. And the bass playing was just sick to me, just ridiculous. And I became, one of those stalking music nerds. And I said something that I haven't said prior or since, and that was me uttering the line to Owen, the bass player, "Hey, are you on MySpace?" All right? That is already dating myself here because I don't know who uses MySpace anymore. But I just wanted any in to get in touch with him rather than, hey, can I get your email? I didn't want to be that forward. So I was just like, hey, you on MySpace? He goes, yeah. I said, I'll hit you up on MySpace. I had a dormant MySpace account. I don't like MySpace. I never did it, but I felt that was my only way to not be too pushy.
Right.
So I asked I asked if he was on MySpace. He was. I write him a MySpace thing. And lo and behold, he writes me back and he said, hey, and I don't know if this was a joke because he's one of the funniest guys, and I think it was both a joke and serious because he's one of these type of guys. He said, hey, are you the same Zach Danziger that I saw at a modern drum festival like in 1998? Are you that same Zach? Because I went there, I was playing drums at the time, and I just remember it like it was yesterday. You did this and that, and he remembered it. And I was just like, yeah, I am. And I was like, shit, well, okay, so maybe we got something here. So I invited him to a session I was having with the keyboardist, Ollie. We played, and, it was, honestly, he played in such a way that I wasn't used to. Now I'm so used to it, it feels normal, but my memory was like, wow, this is different. It was extremely lyrical, and one might even say there's a lot going on when he plays, but he has the unbelievable ability to play so much and yet so little at the same time. It's tucks in so well. It's an unbelievable thing, and since he's been doing stuff with us, and a lot of guys are checking him out in this contest, they all say the same thing. They go, how does a guy get away with playing so much and yet not one note sounds too much? Right. It's bizarre, but that's what I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years. We're working on another album right now, and we're just looking to really commit to this and do a lot more with this. It's very electronic. We all use laptops, but we play our real instruments, and we're feeding them through the electronics and coming up with new ways to produce our sound in real time, much like someone might make a record and apply production techniques. We're trying to do that when we play live, things that you might only think could be done in a studio environment with production. We're doing it live, so constantly experimenting and checking out new gear and trying to get our level higher and higher to make this more seamless. So that's kind of what I've been devoting my energy to.
Are you heading out on the road soon?
We have some spot stuff now, but we're more concerned with getting this album done and done right, because we're feeling that right now what we're trying to do, and I know you've had JoJo on the show who spoke about back in the day of trying to do some electronic music live, which, by the way, he and I were the ones who started that night. And I was doing Boomish back in the day in 1998. He was doing Nerve, and we were trading off, combining, like I'd sit in with him, he'd sit in with us, and the bass player in Boomish, Tim, did a lot of stuff with JoJo, so there was like a cross-pollination, and we really saw how it was something we had to start and explain to people what it was, because it was... But even back then, now people are more in the know, but back then it's like, wait, you're doing electronic music live, what does that mean? But still, 2013, I find that Mr. Barrington is still in the cracks. We're not the laptop DJ. And if you go to the laptop DJ world, they go, wait a minute, doesn't seem like it fits our bill. You go to the live playing world and they go, what do you mean electronic music? So we still feel that we're in the cracks right now, but more and more people are starting to either do it or take note that there's something of a bit of a genre developing. So we want to get this album, quote unquote, right in a way that it states where we're coming from, and hopefully that explains the picture a little clearer so that we can find a home, so to speak, in the touring world, or in the touring world, or in coverage and getting the right booking agents and all that sort of stuff, that right now we're having to explain ourselves a little bit in a way that I hope we don't have to very much, and people go, yeah, I know what that is, because I have to right now explain what this is, and they sort of don't know until they hear it, and then they go, okay, and there's not a lot of points of reference right now.
I guess when you're leading the pack through the trail and you're the first guy to run into the other people who are there going, who the hell are you? You're the guy who has to keep explaining to everyone, this is who we are, and this is...
There's a little bit of that.
It comes with that.
A little bit of that.
It just comes with that job.
And that said, I don't want it any other way. I mean, I do want it another way, but I don't want to not do this. I don't want to say, hey, I'll just be a sideman on gigs that people understand. Exactly. I wouldn't sleep at night if I just resigned to being that person who said, screw this is too hard. Let me do something that has a path. Not what I want to be doing.
Gotcha. I got you. Let me ask you this. Are there any constraints having the bass player in the Roots, who's got obviously he's got a day job, or a night job, I guess?
There were serious constraints, but as of about a year ago, there were no constraints because he left the Roots to put all his energy into this, which people think he's absolutely out of his mind. Half of me thinks he's absolutely out of his mind, and half of me thinks it's I'd do it tenfold, So
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I'm not
he's
gonna
been
lie.
gone
I
about a
didn't
year and a half.
I mean, so he's not on the show either. Nothing.
He's given up Jimmy Fallon and the Roots to do. I almost laugh as I say this. He's given up the Roots.
I didn't know that, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like an idiot.
No Roots, no Jimmy Fallon, no John Legend, no more Grammy Awards to do Mr. Barrington. Okay. Now I hope we'll all laugh at that right now, and I hope in 3 years no one's laughing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's heavy. So.
Did he tell you about that beforehand? Was he saying, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it?
It came a little more suddenly maybe than I would have thought, but he wanted to do this. Let's put it that way. He really wanted to pursue this.
But how did he come to you? I'm just curious. How did he come to you and said, listen, I want your opinion? Would you have advised him stay where you are and just...
Over the years that we were doing this together, he was just saying, I really wish I could devote more time to this. And I said, I know, but let's keep it going. I just keep it rolling as it is. There's pros and cons of all facets, of him staying and not staying. I gave him advice. I just said, do what you want, and when the time presents itself, whatever you want to do. There was no you should do this or shouldn't do this. And it just, a situation presented itself where he felt he wanted to give a little more. That's kind of what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you said earlier to me that you're into traveling.
Traveling, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, my next question, it sort of might have answered itself, but I'll go ahead anyway. Does that idea somehow attract you, having that kind of gig where you could stay in town and be, let's say you got to do Mr. Barrington got to be the house band on a talk show, for example.
Okay. While I don't want to limit myself and shut doors, I've thought about that. I, for me, think that's in some case being the house band has a shelf life, and then psychologically you can't help but fall into the day-to-day of it being Groundhog Day essence of it. 10 years ago, I played in a house band on a show called The Caroline Ray Show. At that time, Tim LaFave was the bass player and Chris Bodie was the band leader, and I got asked to replace the drummer who left, and I did about 4 months of it. And when I took it, I said, this is amazing. I get steady paycheck, and I'm not an early bird, but you had to be at that job at 7 a.m. because it taped live at 10 a.m. It was a morning talk show. And you have to be there at 7 to talk over the music and rehearse with some of the musical guests that when they rarely have one, but you still have to work out the stuff. And I swear, and I could say it now, in the 3 or 4 months I did that show, not once was I there at 7 or before. I'd show up 7:03, 7:06, 7:08, 7:12. It wasn't a big deal, but the point is I tried, and I couldn't do it once. Not once. So after late every time. Didn't have much of a bearing. But the thing is, it kicked the shit out of me. The show was done by 11 a.m. So you figure, well, I got the whole day. I didn't have the whole day. I went home, I had to nap. I woke up from the nap, I was dreary. It killed me. Yeah. Now, okay, you do another talk show that tapes at 5 p.m., you don't have that problem. But boy, does that ritual get to you. Yeah. And it's the brain just feels, hey, I've got this, this is what I got, so I don't have to do anything. I like to cut all ties. I like to go without a net when I do things and throw me into the deep end and I sink or swim, which I would sink because I'm not a very good swimmer. But as a metaphor, I like to think I could swim. So that's what I like. That pushes me when there's no choice but to do something. Yeah. To have a comfort zone, for me personally, is not the best thing.
Okay, see, I love that I asked you that question, and I had no idea, that you have done this. This is in your past. You did it. You played for a daytime. Yeah, and I love that. I love that. You were in the house band.
It wasn't David Letterman, but it was for all. It was the same thing. It was a network show taped live.
That's what I want to get at. I just want to get back there for
It was at NBC.
Moment.
It was at 30 Rock.
There you go. I want to get to some things about the time, just for the... When you did nail that gig, when you first scored it, you were psyched, right?
I was excited, yeah.
Because it's a big deal.
I thought it was cool. Yeah, it was something that I wanted to try and do. So it was 2003. I'm pretty positive. So that's 10 years ago. Now, what I didn't know was that all the cues had to come from me. So it was so stressful because basically,
Chris
years.
Bodie doesn't. That's not.
No,
his-
it's always on the drummer. You know, like
Yeah,
when someone says a punchline, you give them the old splash or whatever. But Caroline Ray would walk out to the theme song, Sweet Caroline, and when she waved her arms, flailing her arms, she was just doing something with no real musical sort of logic to it. And when she just was just like, now stop. It was like out of nowhere. So you're in the midst of this fill at the end, and she, I swear to God, would give me a dirty look from the stage that even though maybe the cameras didn't pick up, but I picked up on. These daggers, like, you fucked up. And then they interview like John Stamos or whomever, and it's honestly about 150 feet away in the corner right there. And you're supposed to have a TV screen and a monitor of what's going on, and I have a little TV screen, but I can't hear very well. So basically she'll be like, and John, so you know, I want to get into a lot of the movie stuff you've done, but after this commercial break, right? And like, that's my cue. So, like, and I'm like, did she mumble? Is that my cue to count the tune off? And she gave me a look during the commercial break, like, and I swear it was hard.
Did she ever say a word to you personally? Like,
she actually didn't say a very word to me, but I wanted to be her friend backstage. But hey, and she didn't like that the drummer beforehand had left the show. She loved him. He was the leader and the face of the band before Chris Bodie. A great drummer named Ralph Roll. He's the drummer in Showtime at the Apollo. It's incredible. And he left, and he was Ralph. So like he was the Paul Schaefer before Chris Bodie took over.
okay.
So he leaves, and it's like her Ed McMahon is gone.
I got you.
So Chris Bodie becomes the Ed McMahon, but Ralph was the guy she dealt with.
Was Chris Bodie any good at that?
Yeah, I thought he was really good at that.
He was good at
yeah.
that? Okay.
But
was that when he was with Katie Couric at the Katie Couric years?
you know what? It's probably somewhere in there. I don't know for sure. I would answer it if I could. I didn't see her around. Anyway, but so Caroline just didn't like that Ralph left. And I think there was nothing I could have done to win her over. So I was already with this cards stacked against me. I was excited because I found her to be a very funny comedian. I thought that show was a little stifling for her style. She has a dark sense of humor and dry, and I love it. And they wanted to make her more like a Rosie O'Donnell, like a little brighter, more perky Ellen DeGeneres type. And it wasn't her strong suit, in my opinion. I thought she had a lot more dark humor in her that she couldn't do. But I was a fan of hers, and I really wanted to get to know her a little bit, you know, and it took till after the show ended that I became a little more friendly with her through a mutual friend on the show, and she came up to me after as we were hanging after this, and she's like, you're cool, why don't we talk? I was like, because you wouldn't talk to me, that's why. And I told her, and she's like, I know, I was just stressed, and I know what it means to be stressed with stuff. I get like personally really worked up when I'm doing things that I'm in the midst of, so I get it, but the sad thing is during the show I didn't feel like I felt like I wasn't really connecting with her.
Appreciate it.
Not even appreciate it, but connecting, like even noticed.
Right.
I don't even need to be appreciated, just be like just acknowledged. Yeah. So it was sad because I liked her. I liked.
That's kind of funny. Now you end up friends with her.
Well, I don't know if I can call her
Friends,
up tonight,
but
but she actually did a little spot for us when we had Boomish, and she, out of the kindness of her heart, acted in a little bit of a skit for us, and she was very cool.
Right.
So it was just the timing of that was a little.
Well, did you have people in your life who told you, don't leave that gig? Yeah, bad idea, pal. Bad idea. Did you get that?
No, because the show got canceled, so I didn't have to leave it.
You
it
said
left me.
It did about 3 or 4 months, and that was it.
That was it. It ended after the first season, and there was no other season. Had it been renewed, I might have thought twice about it.
Okay.
I probably would have said yes and done it some more at that particular time in my career. If someone offered me, I guess to your question right now, if someone offered me something right now, I think I might not be as eager because I'm a firm believer in, again, there are times in one's life and career, and not even just professionally, but in just life, period, where you feel like you're on a mission or you feel like you have something you want to say or do. There are other times where you feel like you're coasting a little bit and just like existing, and you're taking it as it comes, and you don't have any strong convictions. Definitely in my career, there have been times like I must do this. This is all I'm feeling. Then there's other times like I don't really have anything I'm really feeling, so I'll just do what's out there and I'll enjoy that. But right now I'm in one of those periods where I feel very, very strongly about what I need to be doing musically. And right this minute, there's nothing I can imagine being offered outside of something with Mr. Barrington, and even a TV show with Mr. Barrington. I don't know if that's even just there. I don't believe there's any gig right now that someone could offer me where I would rather do that than tough it out with Mr. Barrington and see what happens.
Yeah.
You know. I've been fortunate to have good gigs throughout my career. Did a lot of movie soundtracks as not only a drummer but as a composer. Had a lot of success with that. That stuff is, when it goes, it pays very well, and there's residuals, so you make money when you're not working. That's all well and good. I would give back every penny if I had to continue Mr. Barrington. I'd give it all back. I really mean it. I'd be in the poorhouse big time. I'd be heavily in debt, but that's how important it is for me to make this musical statement with Mr. Barrington. I think it's that important to what I need to do with myself.
I get it, man.
That's how strongly I feel.
And that also comes from the experiences that you've lived, right? Making choices where you put other things first. I mean, no, it's all part of who you are and how you got here today, I guess.
It's very easy, though. I say what I say right now at the same time. It's easier for me to say that when at 17 years old I got my dream gig. I was playing with Michel Camilo, who's a great piano player. I got hired for that gig when I was 17 years old. There were two gigs that, you're a teenager aspiring. There were two gigs that I wanted as an end goal in life. Chick Corea, Electric Man, and Michel Camilo. And at 17 to have one of those, it's now easy for me to say there's no gig I want, because you did the thing you wanted. Now, you always have new goals. I have tons of people I love, always. But to have already done to the level you dreamed of doing it, whether it happens at 17, 27, or 87, my point is it happened. Will I want something like that again? Quite possibly. But to have done it makes it easier to go, I don't need to do that type of thing, and I don't need to aspire to be a sideman with this, that, and the other. If John Mayer calls tomorrow, would I love to play with him? Sure. Do I think it's my calling right now more so than what I'm trying to do with Mr. Barrington? I don't.
Right.
And that's no slight.
And he couldn't buy your time, exactly.
No, it's just that I have to do this right now.
I got you. No,
that's
I got
all
you.
it is.
I got you.
And once I do this, maybe in a couple years, I'm like, I'm tired of doing this. I'll work with Fleetwood Mac's reunion band somewhere, playing at a hot air balloon festival in the middle of Racine, Wisconsin. I'm fine with that, but right now, there is nothing. And I don't want to seem like a guy who doesn't like anything. It's just about, I have a mission.
I totally got you. And that's beautiful. That's a beautiful
beautiful.
place to
It's
be.
tormenting. I'm very tormented. Yeah.
You're in Kafka land. Everything's really like edgy. And just
it is, and this coffee ain't
doing
helping.
the Richard Lewis holding the head.
That times 100.
Yeah.
You better believe it. It's the New Yorker in me.
Now let me ask you this: do you get out of music and stuff? Do you when it comes? No, I mean it.
Botany is a big thing for me.
You know what I mean? I mean, you never know when you need to. Look, we're talking about expanding. We're talking about doing things. Hey, haven't tried this yet. New goals. Do you apply that to life? I mean, have you gotten into things that are?
I have a few passions, I'd say. And I do say this often, and now I'm not sure which I'd choose at this very minute. You've got me all worked up on music here, but food is as big of a passion as music to me, maybe even more so. I mean, we're having coffee here, which I think is some of the better coffee you'll get in New York. I can name you 5-10 other places that are kind of on par, but I'm into it. So I'm into food. I'm into seeing new restaurants. I would love to be in the food industry one day. I spoke to a friend a couple of days ago. I believe, and you spent time in Spain. New York has some very good Spanish food, very good tapas-y style food. They'll call it that. New York does not have, I'll go on the record now in 2013, if New York opened a tapas restaurant a la what you'll find in Madrid or San Sebastian, where, you walk in the place, it's this sort of, there's the toothpicks and napkins on the floor, all the food is laid out, you point, it's instant gratification, they count the plates and the toothpicks.
And the toothpicks, they count the toothpicks.
And maybe they'll give you an extra glass of wine or extra toothpick. It's a little looser, and it's just very communal and very immediate. I swear, the first person who opens one in New York, there's lines out the door, and I told someone the other day, I was like, I'm going to be kicking myself when that happens, but I'm going to be kicking myself, a guy not even in the food industry, you know? Like, I just wish I had enough money and wherewithal to say, this is a great idea. Let's make this happen.
It's true, but it's also more time, right? That you got to worry about all that bullshit. I guess.
Yeah, I need to get my laptop up to speed.
Right.
That's much more something I have to.
Well, you got to get your Gene Simmons on. Is what I'm saying.
That too.
It's all about like expanding the merchandising and thinking out. You know, now I own restaurants and.
Right. Exactly.
You know, just doing.
Yeah, I want to be the Celine Dion of the United States.
There you go.
You know?
I mean, really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you really need that shit?
Well, hey, you know.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I gotta stay small, but like.
But food, you're into.
I'm into.
You're
food.
a gourmandizer.
Yeah, I'm a. What's the word?
And you're not a fat bastard, which is kind of funny to me.
You know, I hide
like
it well.
that.
I hide it well. I've had.
So you just eat a little bit, right? You go out.
I eat a lot. I just. I am a very slim frame, so when I have fat packed on me, it just looks like maybe it's a little bit of bulk, but it's really not. I have a swimmer's physique, and. Believe me, I should look like Iggy Pop. That's how I should look like if I shaved all the fat off me with a meat slicer. I really mean that. But anyhow, that's that. The word is gourmand, and there's a less flattering sounding word in French that I can't remember right now. Like it has the word gross in it or something, and like I can't remember it. But when they talk about a type of I was in a restaurant, they offered that type of menu, and I was like, that just sounds like a glutton, like a word like glutton. And I can't remember it, but I like to think I'm that type of guy. I'm definitely a glutton when it comes to food.
Well, coffee, food, you like the finer thing. You know what's good. Yeah, would you even accept, by the way, just one question about the coffee. I know you want to get off the coffee.
No, I'm here.
If there's only like a brewmaster, or a Mr. Coffee Maker and chock full of nuts, do you just pass?
Oh yeah, always.
You'll pass.
To me it's an entirely different product.
Just wanted to know, like. You'd rather go no coffee than have that.
Not even rather. I don't. I
right.
Either go no coffee or this.
I love it.
It's a different species. You know, nothing against that, but that's just not. It doesn't have the same experience.
Lavazza, we don't care what it is.
Yeah, even some of the Italian ground Lavazza, yeah, it's okay, sure.
But out of a Mr. Coffee, you're like, forget that.
No, and even though I was a Joe DiMaggio fan who was the spokesperson for Mr. Coffee, that's not enough, you know?
I love Joe D, but
he had a 56-game hitting streak. And
now, you're a New Yorker.
Yeah.
Is your family New Yorkers?
Yes, born and bred New York. My mom from Queens, my dad from the Bronx.
That's like mine, except opposite. You know?
Yeah, wow.
Astoria and Kingsbridge Road.
You have a New York thing going for you, and don't lose it.
I was hoping my time in Wisconsin didn't rub it off.
It didn't rub. Did you spend time in Wisconsin?
No, not
okay.
at all.
All right. I didn't think you did. All right.
Now, do you like anywhere else? I mean, no way. No fucking way. New York.
To live? To be? Yeah, I like everywhere else because it's like a nice change of pace, but I don't want to be anywhere else for too long.
Do you do that too, where you say to yourself, like, I got to get the fuck out of here? Do you have those days, I'm getting out of here, and then...
I have those days where I would like to get out of there, but I don't have those days where I just do. They only happen when, something really presents itself. I don't just make the decision, hey, I got to get out of here, therefore I'm going to.
Right.
I'd like to be able to... But I don't. I'll either be on tour or a friend will invite me out to their summer house. But it's not going to be like, hey, today's a Friday. I want to get out for the weekend. Let me just go somewhere. I don't end up doing that too much. It's a good idea, though. I think it's a great idea.
Well, I mean, get out, like, do you ever get the feeling of, like, I got to get out of here. I got to move.
Oh, get out. No.
You never get that.
No, I don't. I love San Francisco. I have a love-hate with Los Angeles. There's enough about LA that I like where I don't mind being there for stretches. I love Europe. I love going over there for any reason. But as far as a home base right now, right now New York is just, it is home, and I like it here.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you're here. You are entrenched, doing the Mr. Barrington thing in New York every day. Seriously,
like
your
right.
studio, you said checking out gear.
Yes. I don't know if it's the problem with this, but what this sort of like situation we're embarking on, what it involves is, as a drummer, let's say, you got to worry about your drum kit, and if you're into production, you got to worry about other things. But especially with this, it's so gear dependent, which isn't to say the gear is controlling us, but we are trying to. It's kind of the opposite. We're trying to devise ways so that the gear is liberating and not confining. Owen and myself did something for a TEDx talk about a month or so ago, where we put together a demonstration of how we like to play with computers, where we don't need a click track and we can sound like we're playing to things that are sequenced and very much structured, but without being at the mercy of the computer, where the computer's like working with us, not we're playing to a backing track and we have to stay with that static thing. We're having it move with us, so we've developed ways to have the stuff play when we play.
Okay.
You know, it's a hard concept to really explain in words, but basically we've developed it's just different ways of programming the electronics so that when we want to hear arpeggiated patterns, they come when we hit our instruments and they follow us, and they're kind of like working with us, not just like you hit play and there's the sequence going and we're just going to jam to that.
Right.
It's not what we're doing right now. We want it to be like part of the equation and ebbing and flowing with us, so it sounds human. Make the computers sound like they have a human feel, and we're little by little cracking some codes on how to do that better and better. So I spent a lot of time, like literally earlier this afternoon, I'm looking online at every keyboard controller I can find, both in 49 key form and 37 and 25, because the keyboardist uses a vocoder and it doesn't need as many keys, and for traveling we have to keep our gear, as compact as possible.
That's what I was going to get to. Like, how are you doing this backline? You have to bring everything
We
yourselves.
bring as much as we can. We don't bring a drum set, but we bring all the electronics and the keyboard. You have to, because we programmed it in a way that you just can't have any keyboard
What if
control.
one piece of machinery has a breakdown? What if does it throw everything into a tailspin?
About a year or two ago, I would have said it kind of does. Okay. We're also working on evening the burden so that if, for example, the keyboard rig goes down, there's enough for me in the bass to do so he could restart and change it around. Or he might be able to say, let me disconnect this component of it and just go with this. Mm-hmm. It used to be where I had most of the quote-unquote auxiliary sounds coming out of my computer, and we were playing to more backing tracks back then.
Right.
If my computer crashed, it would probably would have felt like the whole floor went out underneath us, and it would have been, oh my God, what happened? I feel with more confidence as the weeks and months go by of us thinking this through, that any one of our boxes could totally shut down and we could make a good showing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's another key, because the other way you can do it is with what they call redundancy, which we haven't gotten into too much yet, where you have a duplicate laptop with like a switcher and everything's really high tech, where there's double of everything. Okay. So if something goes down, you can probably like switch over to the other computer with maybe an A/B switch.
That's what I was going to wonder. Is that some next level shit?
That is some next level shit, more so financially.
That's what I'm saying. That's got to add up.
It's probably double the amount of gear, double the amount to carry around on some level, probably two laptops each.
Right.
Most likely.
Right.
We had a thought of bringing one spare laptop that has all our setups on it, so if somebody goes down, they reach into the spare bag, get it up and running. They'll need 3-4 minutes to plug in, but we'll take over for that 3-4 minutes. Sure. That's probably the minimum we're going to have to do, but we'd love total redundancy where you flick a switch and we're back up and running.
That's ideal.
Yeah,
that's
it's ideal.
But so that's a lot of equipment, regardless, to bring over.
A lot of equipment. And
those goddamn airlines, man,
Yeah, we have to sort of like, they charge you per bag, and then they have a carry-on limit.
Per size, per weight. I mean, they just, oof.
There
was no lube. They just,
right.
I mean, really, they just.
But that's the chess match. So we're thinking, okay, we could give in and say we're going to just like check more things, and then you're going to pay more. But then we'd have to get certain bags that are going to be, strong enough. Like we'll buy an anvil case, so we're going to resign ourselves to check all the keyboards. Now we need a bigger case, which now adds more weight to if they're going by weight. Then we get picked up in Europe, and the trunk of the cab doesn't hold a case that big. So now we go, all right, let's bring a smaller bag. But if the smaller bag they want us to check, we have to beg them to gate check it, because if they just throw it down the chute, now maybe our keyboards are going to come back broken. So these are things we're thinking about. The last thing.
What about having things in Europe, by the way? You thought about that too?
We thought about maybe in London we leave a duplicate rig, and we just grab it there.
You do a lot of work in Europe.
We want to do more. One day there's going to be a threshold crossed where people are going to get what we're doing. They're going to feel like, wow, I see what you need. We're going to make sure that you have this set up there. Why is it that if you're, and also when that happens, maybe you have the money to hire a staff and then you bring it anyway. So the answer will present itself at some point. Right now we are really hopefully as
But I'm
much
thinking of
this
those
is-
hurdles about for you.
Right.
That's where I'm going. I'm just
We're thinking about them
wow, all
constantly.
that shit is just alone you have to deal with.
That's
just
right.
That.
For me, I hope we're at the most difficult part of our careers in reference to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this brownie because you just never know. Not that I'm even hungry for it. I'm the type who just wants to know for future reference, because this is the best brownie I've ever tasted. I'm going to have joy for years to come, and I'm going to come back and get it all the time.
I mean, it's a good-looking brownie. It's good-looking wrapping.
It ain't the worst I've ever tasted, but I wouldn't jump through hoops for it.
No.
But feel free. Having said that, with a very mediocre endorsement.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Relatively good.
Yeah. And by the way, you mentioned Tim LaFay. Is that where you met him back on that show, or you knew him before that?
I met Tim LaFay on a cruise ship.
Okay.
Yep. There's more to that story. Yeah.
Did you throw someone overboard? Is that it?
I actually wanted to, but that's another story. No, here's what happened here. I had a good friend of mine named Pete Davenport, who's a really good drummer and one part of a group that we developed with Tim LaFay in the mid-'90s called Bluth. Bluth was a very bizarre Frank Zappa-esque type thing. As it turned out, my friend Pete was working on the cruise ship. And another one of my loves is basketball. And that's right up there with food. I'm very limited. It's food, basketball, and weird electronic music. Anyway, that's about it. So Pete, very limited. Pete said to me, hey, I can get you on this cruise ship for like $25 a night. You'll have a cabin just like regular passengers. It would have cost you thousands. Otherwise, I get you on for like $25 a night. You'll have fun. And he goes, bizarrely enough, the band on this boat is amazing. And we play during cocktail hour, and no one's there for cocktail hour. And we end up playing Michael Brecker tunes and Weather Report tunes. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I come on out because we're gonna dock in the Bahamas, and I'm gonna play basketball in the Bahamas. That's what I'm excited about for this trip.
And by the way, now just to clarify, you're just there hanging out.
I'm there as a passenger.
Right, you're not there as a okay.
I'm not.
Okay, got it.
I just want to go to the Bahamas and play basketball.
Why not?
$25 a night. Nobody said it'd be easy. Anyhow, I show up and I watch this band. Oh, we're gonna let somebody through. I see a lot of bow ties these days, and I'm wondering if that's hip.
And it's not Nation of Islam.
Gotta figure out if it's bow tie weather for me, but anyhow. So I get on this cruise ship, and I'm watching this. I'm like, this fucking bass player's incredible. Like, really incredible. And I pull him aside, and he loves basketball, and we're hanging out. We're very friendly. I pretty much say, have you thought about moving to New York? And he kind of was like, I thought about it, but, what would I do there? It's like, I'm intimidated. I think I'm telling you, you are as good of a bass player as I've ever worked with, and I know you'd work in New York. And he was like doubting that. I said, I'll do whatever I can do. You get off this boat, and I'll get you work in New York. I got him off the boat. I took an apartment that I actually really didn't necessarily think was the perfect apartment, but I took it because it had 2 bedrooms, and I get him to New York, whatever I had to do to get him to New York. I recommended him to everyone I possibly could. At that time, I was working with 3 main people, Wayne Krantz, a guy named Chuck Loeb, and Laney Stern. Those are the 3 gigs I was doing very regularly. I literally begged all 3 to hire Tim. I think Laney was pretty receptive. The other 2 guys were very, very cordial and, receptive, but they were just like, almost like, yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm. We got our bass players, whatever.
Sure.
As it turned out, I left Wayne Kranz's band. He must have hired Tim within 3 months of me leaving. Tim and I never really got a chance to play in that band together more than once or twice on a spot date. And I begged Wayne to hire Tim for the longest time. And now, of course, it's like you don't have to say to Wayne, what do you think of Tim LaFave? Back in the day, I had to beg. And again, it goes with that whole thing of like, a lot of the story of my life is feeling like I knew of something before someone else.
Everybody else.
And
folks, you pulled Tim LaFay here to the city. Yeah.
Yes.
You're responsible.
Yes.
It's open.
It is. I did.
See, this is what we're talking about. When you lead the pack, there's a lot. You got to deal with a lot of that bullshit.
Well, it's frustrating because you think you know something, and then when it confirms itself, but it's already past its point, it's just like, shit, I wish I could have been in on it. Yeah, been in on it when it was really...
Somehow.
Yeah, so, there's an incubation period for stuff, I believe. People come up to me And for the most part, if anyone has anything that they come up to me and go, yeah, I'm a huge fan of, 98% of the time, it's this album, Wayne Krantz, 2 Drink Minimum, which I tell Wayne to this day, I'm ashamed of how poorly I performed on both his albums. He argues back, but he's just one of the best in the world, period, from day one of playing with this guy, and I wish I could have made a better showing. When I left the band and Keith Carlock got in the band, I said to myself, that's how that music should be played. That was my feeling. That's how the band should sound. And no, I'm not fishing for compliments. I'm just being honest. That's how I felt. So,
let's see, maybe we can go to John Dory.
Maybe they're going to go to John somewhere else. I'm not getting any of that. But that could work out. It could work out.
We'll let you know, folks. We'll keep you posted.
Slide over so that no one does the...
I'm following them on Twitter right now, so...
Oh, good. So you know what...
We'll know what's going on.
Okay, very well. How are we doing here? How's this progressing?
We're doing all right,
pretty all right?
except someone left a phone and a coffee.
Oh, shit. All right. Oh, maybe
I didn't move too far down.
Juxtaposed. Anyhow, so Wayne Krantz for me was incredible. I love... Oh, sorry.
See?
Yeah, so...
He came back to the phone.
He did. Yeah. It's another thing you should know about me. I love to refurbish an iPhone for sale with those I find in coffee places.
You too?
I refurbish, yeah. I give a good price. Anyhow, so the 2 Drink Minimum album is something that when anyone comes to me, they're like, man, 2 Drink Minimum, man. And all I remember is when we first started doing Wayne Krantz's music, we had a sort of a residency, if you want to call it that, at this club, the 55 Bar. People would come up to us after the gig with confused looks on their faces, going, yeah, guys, and you know the difference when they really mean it and they're just doing it to be cordial. And I swear I might, if there was a Guinness Book of World Records for having somebody look at you with that look, I might be close to the top. Like, yeah, man, cool.
Musicians or civilians?
Both.
Even musicians?
Yeah, because let's be honest, at the 55 Bar, how many civilians are in there?
Well,
Very few.
That's what I was going to... the baked potato east.
Yeah, it's all musicians in there. So, but the look of, cool, man, yeah, like what you're doing. Interesting stuff. I can read between the lines on that. That's been a lot of what I've gotten. But now, 20 years later, oh, man, that Wayne Krantz, yeah, man. Did I have to wait 20 years for someone to enjoy that, So I hope I don't have to wait 20 years on Mr. Bryan.
This is your curse.
It is my curse. And I don't want to sound like sour grapes. It's not sour grapes. It's just like, wow, it's just a little frustrating sometimes, Little frustrating.
I gotta ask, just because I'm thinking of it,
Yeah.
I gotta ask, has this ever crossed over into your personal life where, like, did you ever get a phone call from that girl who back in middle school and she was like, Zach, I just want you to know, I really regret that time
No, but what I do get is a lot of, like, returning to the scene of the crime with past relationships, which could be an unspoken version of that. Or, like, I don't know, I have this uncanny situation where I'm friendly with a lot of my exes. And again, that hopefully is a testimony to, hey, it didn't work out, but he still has some redeeming qualities.
Right.
I like the guy.
You'd think, like, wait, what a nice guy, obviously. Like, they don't think he's an asshole.
Right.
No, goes the other way?
Well, I think it's more like they're like, okay, he didn't, some have broken up with me, some have broken up with, but still it's like, wow, there's still something to gain out of just being friendly, both ways. I've always felt, so this isn't the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Doesn't mean that you don't like them a lot,
right.
So it isn't an all or nothing black and white situation.
Totally.
So there's that. But yeah, I'm not going to kid you. It's frustrating to, like, when you're doing something, be looked at with blank stares, and then when you've decided to keep moving on to something else, the stuff that you got the blank stares at is now the stuff that they're actually, like, thinking of you as that guy.
Right.
I'm under so much fire. Why doesn't he do Wayne Krantz anymore? He was better with Wayne Krantz. So, but I wasn't better with Wayne Krantz when I was doing Wayne Krantz. I'm only better with Wayne Krantz 20 years after leaving Wayne Krantz.
Right.
maybe it's them who are better at listening to Wayne Krantz than me actually at playing with Wayne Krantz. Maybe it's that, So I'm very outspoken, and I just like to call it as I see it. And there's definitely a lot of that. But let's just hope that the Barrington stuff doesn't take me 20 years for someone to go, I love that Barrington stuff.
You never know, and maybe you might get lucky and move at 10 or something.
I'll take it.
You know what I mean? It could be.
I'll take it. That'll give me a few years before Social Security. Yeah.
And by then you're on to something else. You're on to restaurants or something.
I'm on to restaurants or finding the right walking stick, something like that.
So what are you single these days? Are you in a relationship? What's going on?
It's a very tough question to answer.
You don't have to get personal. You're allowed to say F you, I'm not answering.
Let's just say I'm not married.
Fair enough.
How about that?
Because really where it's going is getting back to the touring, the traveling. This stuff doesn't constrain you. I mean, you're free.
For the time being, yes. And to take it in a more serious place, from the age of 19, 20, I always thought that like a family was going to be an absolute priority over everything. And I'm not saying it isn't, but it was much more of an absolute. It was a situation where I'd say to myself, okay, as long as I have a family, I have the picket fence and the dog and the house and the kids, I'll teach drumming or I'll go work at a music store as long as I have this. And I kind of thought I believed that. Now I'm at the point where, yes, I sure want all that as much as I did, but not at the expense.
Not the cost, right?
Of doing what is, to me, something that's burning inside of me. And hopefully that'll be something that's attractive to the right person. And then you say, yeah, he's might be gone a little too much on the road. I don't like being away when I'm in a relationship. I don't like it. But I also wouldn't like not being able to go away and do what I have to do in my career. So you can't have it always both ways. So you have to look at it as, hey, I want to be home, but I also feel I have to do this. Yeah. So, a little of both.
Sure. And I mean, it's obviously doable. It's not blazing any new trails.
No, and many people do it. But I never understood the person who just didn't care about the other side of family life, just wanted to get out and do that.
Right.
I value being around for somebody and wanting to be around. But I also have this burning desire to get out there and do this Mr. Barrington thing. I hate to be a broken record.
But I was going to say, have you also seen people, friends, have kids, do the whole thing, and has it made you sort of say, like, you know what? Yeah, not for me. Like, do you get that ever?
I only get it.
Opposite?
No, I only get it when it's. I don't know. It's like seeing someone who heats up, Swanson Hungry Man dinners every night and eats it and goes, I mean, going, no, food's not for me. No, I go, Swanson Hungry Man's not for me. Sure. So in this case, I don't go, no, relationship, kids, but the way that is, gotcha. And the way somebody's kind of maybe given up certain dreams for that's not for me. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to be that way.
That's a very good way of looking at it.
So, and I do like that cobbler in the Hungry Man thing. It's a little sweet, but it's a guilty pleasure.
The cobbler, folks.
The cobbler. Just the word cobbler.
not
someone who fixes your shoes.
See, cobbler's comedy, and you seem to have a very good sense of comedy.
Well, my father's a comedy writer, so.
Is he?
Yes, obviously that plays into it.
Can we talk about that at all? Or?
Yeah, I mean.
Who does he write for?
Well, he wrote for a lot of famous comedians over the years. Joan Rivers, Rodney Dangerfield, Freddie Prinze, a guy who is known.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. It's a very funny guy.
Is your dad's name Danziger? That's his professional name?
No, he's ashamed of it. So,
well, I don't know.
It is. Howard Danziger is his name.
Could be Bruce Valanche for all I know.
Maybe it should be. But anyhow, if you can imagine like Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm, but honestly, if you can imagine that wasn't fiction.
That's your dad.
That is. That the same exact things happen. And anyone who watches that show who goes, that's just outrageous, that doesn't happen, they are not New Yorkers.
That's right.
You're
I've been told I'm him, so yeah.
Right.
I got it.
You live in Nebraska, because if you can't relate to that and think it's not real, you haven't spent enough time in New York.
And we don't want to know you.
Well, I want to know them because I want to educate them that they haven't spent enough time in New York.
Okay, you know them, and I'll
tell you about them.
I'll not know them, and you tell me about them later.
I love everyone. It's a character study, I love it all.
I get that about
Very
you.
interested in. I like.
Did you try writing? Did you ever try it?
Not really.
Did you have the unfinished novel under?
Never. But
screenplay, something.
I wrote a couple of little blurbs for the days of Boomish that I thought were mildly funny. I'm not going to lie to you, but
wait a minute, seriously. Your dad, that was his living comedy writer?
He also plays piano, so there you go. He writes comedy and he plays piano, and he used to arrange music and for a lot of like Catskill Mountain type acts. So he used to work the Borscht Belt, as they called it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, it was pretty
this is
cool.
Fascinating to me.
Yeah, I mean,
so you grew up doing all this, the Borscht Belt?
I was hanging out there.
Catskills?
Yes.
Now, tell me, who did you see? Anyone we might...
You know what? I'm wondering if I saw... Well, this is funny.
Random names are good, by the way.
Well, this won't be so random. My mom was a nightclub singer, so... Yeah, so my mom was a nightclub singer.
What year are we in? I mean...
Yeah, Broadway Danny Rose. Anyhow, yeah. Told you this would be entertaining. Anyway, so my mom used to sing at this club in the city called the Playboy Club, which might have been risque to a 4-year-old, but it actually was almost like Hooters for a nightclub. It was
a little more advanced, a little more upper scale, wasn't it?
Upscale, but what I'm saying, it wasn't like, it's not a strip club.
No.
It was like the way Hooters is just a bar where, whatever.
But servers wore bunny outfits and bunny...
You got it. So literally, word has it, I was too young to remember this, that, my mom was the main act, and you'd have a warm-up comedian. And one of those warm-up comedians was a guy named Jay Leno. So Jay Leno would open up for my mom. He was the opening act, right? So my mom was on the Merv Griffin show back in the day in the 70s, maybe 20 times singing. And so I grew up in that real show-busy type atmosphere. There's really not a lot of mystery why I might have pursued certain comedy and music things. And I like to do the sort of Broadway-ish sort of like, what do you call it? What was the big thing in the 70s? How am I drawing a blank? I based Boomish on this a lot. The variety show. The Tony Orlando and Dawn.
Sure. Sonny and Cher.
Sonny and Cher. All the stuff in the 70s. That was huge. And I was exposed to that at a young age. And I really loved that schlocky. I love the Andy Kaufman, Tony Clifton, the sort of surreal stuff where you're making people feel a little uncomfortable at their own expense even maybe. All right. But you're pushing the envelope. You're challenging them.
That's what I'm saying. You grew up in a household, so your dad, he's a funny guy.
He's a very funny guy.
Obviously, and you're picking this up. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a brother. He's very funny as well.
See?
Yeah.
And so there was a time that you thought maybe, no?
No, there was, with this Bamboomish, I wanted to, it was a little outlet for some trying a little bit into dabbling in the comedic field. And I had a alter ego named Bert Slutsky. And Bert Slutsky wore a mullet wig, a 70s thing. And the funniest part of that, like my goal was to make the cover of Modern Drummer as Bert Slutsky and not myself.
Right.
That to me would be the definition of success.
Have Bert beat Zach Danziger to the punch.
Success to me is merely that. It's not how much money you have in the bank. That would be success.
I thought it was a liver transplant. That's Lou Reed proved like he's pretty famous. I didn't,
That's deeper. Yeah, I can't argue with that. That's a whole other level. But on the more lighthearted side of things, sure. If I would have made the cover with the mullet wig as Bert Slutsky,
there's still time.
There's still time. But
would you accept Drumhead magazine? I could pull some strings over there.
I would do it.
Would you accept that as a consolation
I'll
prize?
take it.
Because we might be able to get you Drumhead magazine.
I'll take it. But the funniest thing I did though is some a woman who became like one of the hosts on like one of those like Bravo food Top Chef shows.
Right.
Had a cooking and lifestyle show on a cable network in New York that they actually showed a lot in reruns, and then it made it to late night or on Sunday afternoons on NBC. This may be like 5 or 10 years ago. She asked if I could be on the show because she thought I'd be an interesting character to make something that I was really kind of like, it was called Neighborhood Kitchen. Okay. So there was an item that they said, could you make something that you were passionate about?
And we have on drummer Zach Danziger, and he's going to make this kind of thing.
Well, we have entertainer Bert Slutsky. I said I will only do it as Bert Slutsky.
And you did this?
Yeah, and I said I don't want you saying a word about my real name. We're gonna call me Bert Slutsky.
Is this on YouTube?
Yeah.
Right now, folks can just currently right now.
Yes. Bert Slutsky makes a malted. Because I was big on malt, which isn't a milkshake. You add the malt.
Malt's a whole different thing.
Whole different thing. And strangely enough, I don't like the candy called Whoppers, which is a malted milk ball.
Yeah.
But I like a Burger King Whopper. which has nothing to do with it. Anyway,
Right,
it's just a
right,
sequitur.
right,
Anyhow,
right.
so, but I made this vanilla malt.
A nice malt. He makes a nice malt.
I thought I did, and back then malts weren't popular, and you couldn't find malt on the shelves of the supermarket. So I had to go on Amazon or somewhere and find malt, and I bought these big jars of it, a big can of malt. So I'm making this milkshake as Bert Slutsky. It's malted. And that was as close to my Andy Kaufman moment as I could have, where I got on there as Bert Slutsky. I didn't make Modern Drummer as Bert, but I did get on a show on television. And people call me like, is that you, Zach? Oh, is that your hair? And why is she calling you Bert? Over and over again. I was like, it's not that long of a story, but I don't even know where to start. Anyway.
I would like to see a return of Bert Slutsky, I think.
Maybe one day.
This is calling for...
Yeah, a little more serious.
Well, I listen, I'm fascinated by your father, the comedy writer, and
yeah,
I'm sorry about that,
but
it sounds like we got to do a whole nother podcast just on that.
Get him on there, yeah.
That's just fascinating to
Father
me.
of a drummer, you know?
Well, because I think we have to go there eventually anyway. Like, we have to start going to parents of drummers. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
you know, now we're getting something.
Some drummers are just boring.
Right.
And maybe the parents would be more interesting.
Ooh, or maybe the parents would be even more boring.
That's true, too.
I would actually bet on that.
Wager, yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet on that. The pocket with the pens and that.
That's starting to
the
make
whole
sense.
thing, the comb over and the whole thing.
No, that's starting to make sense.
Yeah.
I like that. Let me ask you this. Have
Yeah.
you ever been in a position where you did an audition for a gig and it was like a fucking train wreck? I mean, and it was a good gig.
Besides all of them.
Well, no, you know what I mean. Like, let's say there's a gig you wanted, and has it ever gone wrong for Zach Danziger, or not really?
Yeah. They seem like train wrecks. Yeah, to me, and which I think the reality was, it wasn't. Yes.
You could swing it to the end. We're going to try to fit all these people. We're going to get up.
Oh yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Where are we swinging? Who's swinging?
Yeah.
Sort of brings me back to Plato's Retreat, by the way.
But your mattress is
Remember
on the floor.
Plato's Retreat?
I was 3 years old.
That used to be the old line. Can you swing it to the...
Oh, really?
We're trying to fit all these people in. You know?
Those were the days, right?
Yeah.
Where you can only get herpes.
Right.
That was the worst of it would come of it.
Now,
anyway. I was 3 years old and very active on that scene. Anyhow, so where were we? We were talking about, failing miserably. I would say that I never felt comfortable at any audition because just the whole format of an audition is not the most natural thing in the world anyway. It's an interview, it's an audition. You are there to sell yourself, but you don't want to try too hard. But there's still maybe doubt, because they're auditioning you. Or even if it's like we think we want him, might be a little doubt. So, I don't know if it's something where I thought I blew anything, but I just never felt comfortable at any time I've ever auditioned, and maybe I can only think of 5 auditions I've ever had. Maybe. I'm not going to name them, but never have I felt like I did the type of job I wanted to. And maybe out of those I might have gotten some of them. I definitely didn't get them all. Some of them I wasn't even sure I would take if I got it. But the point being is I never felt like, it's not that you don't get a fair shake because it's something they did, but just the format of the interview, of the audition, is not a fair shake to me.
I got you.
And that's more what I'm...
Because it's a whole other thing. Some people do, right? They do seminars on these things.
Right.
I'll teach you how to audition.
Yeah, and then even that's kind of like put on.
Right.
You know?
Right. It's like...
So it's a no-win situation on some level. Just got to hope for the best. And everyone goes through them, so it's not like, it's just one of those unfortunate things that it has to happen that way.
Totally.
Totally. Yeah.
But I was just curious if there's one particular gig you could actually
say, "Oh shit, I blew it."
Name a name and say, this came up once,
Well, I was asked. I was being heavily considered to do the Beck gig, and this was back in the height of his career. Joey Waronker, I believe, got the gig with REM at that point, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say this was like between 1998 and 2000,
Whenever
somewhere in there.
Gig, right.
Somewhere in there. I'd been working with a band called Walt Mink. Walt Mink was a group where Joey Waronker played with them for years. So as it turns out, Walt Mink, the guitarist, one of his best friends was Beck's tour manager. So he knew of me through Walt Mink. So a lot of times they'd ask the tour manager, Joey Waronker, I think, was almost not able to make a gig in Japan. They called me. They said, Zach, could you get to Japan if we needed you in a heartbeat? Turned out Joey Waronker, I think, could make it. So I didn't get that call. But they're like, hang in there. There might be an opportunity. Then, months later, he got the gig with REM. Zach, would you like to audition for Beck? And I go, sure. So I fly out to LA. I also got word from several other sources on the inside of management that it was an audition, but it wasn't. It was like it was your gig to lose kind of thing. We're going to check out a couple other guys, but you're the guy they want to hire.
Okay.
We're just going to see how it feels to play with them.
You were
and
told
stuff.
this before you went in?
I was told this by people who said, don't tell me I told you this, but it seems like they want you, and it's more than an audition. You kind of sort of have the gig, unless you show up and you blow it for no reason. So I show up and I play, and it's going really, really well, and I work hard on all the material. It was the Odelay album. And
Gatson played on it, right?
Oh, I don't know. Well, he must have been.
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Well, they've used all these samples. I'm sure one of them is him.
Anyway, go ahead.
But anyhow, so he asked me about tour dates. Said, was I available? I spoke to the management. They said, are you available for X to X? And they said, we'll get back to you. And I said, great. And spoke to the people more on the inside, and they're like, yeah, looks good. So I said, great. Maybe 3-4 days later, they said, you know what? This tour we were about to do has fallen through, but you're right at the top of the list for Beck, so, for the next thing that comes around, if we need you, we're going to call. From what I think happened was the next thing that came around, Joey Waronker was free for that particular gap. He did that one. There might have been a lag till the next one, and the way things go with timing is like, I'm not going to lie, it's like you're at the top or tip of someone's tongue at the time, and then life happens, and then you go back to New York, and then the other guy's available again, and then maybe he's not, but then in that time they meet another guy, or you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things where, but I wouldn't say that fell into a category of I blew it, Actually,
no.
I think I did all right, but the situation didn't present itself. And it was a gig that at the time I was excited about because I liked the music a lot. Really would have done it for sure.
Sure. No, I got you. It just didn't.
And it would have been transformative at that point because he was popular and there was some good stuff in the pipeline for those gigs with Beck. So, but yeah, but never didn't feel comfortable with that one either.
Right.
You always feel on the spot and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's okay. What about any tours that you were offered that you couldn't take because of previous?
Yeah.
That's happened too. Like good stuff that you were like,
yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
At the time I got the gig with Michelle Camilo, it was definitely like a dream of mine to get that gig.
17.
At that same time, and this is just the way the business seems to work, you're either not working or you're getting called for every gig.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
The phone was at that time ringing almost every other day with a gig. I'm not going to say of that level, how do you judge that, but a pretty good gig every couple of days. Hey, you want to do this recording with me? Hey, I got this tour coming up. And it was just like, wow. So I was working with this bass player, Eddie Gomez, who was an incredible bass player. I got called by a guitar player, Hiram Bullock, who was putting together a band. I really wanted to do that gig and couldn't. I think the same time I got called by Scott Henderson, Tribal Tech, couldn't do that gig. The gig I wanted to do the most, bizarrely enough, was this woman named Ileana Elias, and she was a Brazilian pianist, loved her music a lot. And I was very excited because I knew the bass player. It was very well paying. I was excited the gig she had. She had a night at Carnegie Hall for the JVC Jazz Festival. I really wanted to do it. But at that time I turned 18 now, so I'm not 17 anymore here, so I'm a lot older, as we know. But you think I'd have the experience.
You were thinking about your future?
My future. So at 18 you would have thought I had enough experience under my belt to figure out how I could do this. At that point, I wasn't loving the experience in every regard of playing the Michelle Camilo gig because I adored and idolized Dave Weckl, and I would love to lay claim to being the first heavy Dave Weckl clone. I don't know how you can gauge that, but I was definitely one of them.
Okay, we can start somewhere. I have one question.
Yeah.
Did you ever buy the Dave Weckl drumming shoes?
Well, it's the greatest question so far. I'll take it a step deeper. I didn't buy the Dave Weckl drumming shoes. I bought the shoes that Dave Weckl bought before there were the Dave Weckl drumming shoes.
You son of a...
Yeah.
Get them.
Okay.
Do you still have these shoes?
No, but basically, Dave Weckl wore shoes that were only available in Japan that I want to believe were called Cougars, and we're not referring to anybody on Desperate Housewives. Yeah, we're not referring to.
You had an order from Japan?
No, but a friend of mine went to Japan and got them for me. Okay? They were called Cougars, I want to believe. Steve Gadd wore them.
This is priceless information.
Okay.
Right now. I love this.
Steve Gadd, I'm not positive, but he might have endorsed these shoes in Japan. He had billboards, right, I think, where he endorsed this lightweight sort of boxing shoe.
Dr. Gadd was on billboards?
Steve Gadd, I think, was in a billboard for these shoes, on a billboard. Dave Weckl bought those shoes in Japan. I had to have them. I got them.
And then Dave Weckl based his shoes
on those. Shoes. Correct.
He stole the
Vic Firth kicker, were I think off a pair of shoes. Maybe they weren't called Cougars.
But you didn't buy the Weckl shoes then? You did not?
No, at that point I was moved on to other types of shoes. But not only did I buy the shoes that Weckl had on, which weren't the kickers, they were the Steve Gadd, maybe the Cougars, whatever they call it. I didn't wear them. The reason I didn't wear them, I didn't even lace them up because I'm somebody who likes to make things a little more precious than they are. So I figured this is my only pair I have. What happens when they wear out? I can't wear another pair. So they'll never wear out if I don't wear them. And this happens with a lot of things I buy. I have clothes with tags on them. I have sneakers right now. I have a pair of sneakers, some Converse Chucks that are a certain type of finish on them. I bought 3 pair of them because they were running out of style. I looked the other day. I have 1 pair left that they're in pristine condition. God help me, I will never wear them because I will then always have them in pristine condition. I don't have a backup.
For that special occasion.
For that special occasion that actually will never ever come, but I have them. And I do that with a lot of clothing.
I love this. All right, so wait.
We're
going back to Weckl.
Okay, so I loved his drumming. The reason I wanted to work with Chick Corea and Michelle Camilo was I love Dave Weckl.
Because of Dave Weckle's time with Corea. That was...
And Michelle Camilo. He did both.
No, wait, yeah, but did you ever get to meet Weckl, by the way?
No, I didn't get to meet Weckl. Weckl was the nicest guy to me in the world. I was this 14-year-old kid badgering him into how do you play these licks across the set. I swear there couldn't have been a nicer person to handle some kid who he should have just blown me off, Dave. I'm telling you right now. You should have blown me off. I was a nuisance, and you were as sweet as could be, as supportive and helpful in every regard. And if I could be half as nice to somebody, as he was. So wow. I have to keep that in mind. Maybe some young kid's going to go, yeah, remember what you said about Weckl? Well, be nice to me now.
Right.
So now I got to do that. Anyhow.
Right.
I'm going on the record. But Weckl was really nice. And... But now, having said all that, by the time I got with Michelle Camilo, I thought to myself, yeah, I love Dave Weckl, but you know what? It's time to try. The key word is try. To try to sound a little bit more diverse, to try to sound like yourself, if there is such a thing. I didn't know what it meant. I just knew it would be nice if you could. So I get in the Michelle Camilo gig, and he is even more in love with Dave Weckle's drumming than I am. And he wants me to set up the absolute trademarks of Dave Weckle's setup. The double hi-hat, the closed hi-hat on the right, the cowbell here, the splash, in the exact way to use them, and you got to go to this hi-hat here in this groove now, like Weckl. Go check the record out again and really cop it. And I already knew what it was. I was trying to maybe get away from it a little bit. So I felt, and no one really understood it because they're like, Zach's playing with Michelle Camilo, and then he's not. What happened? What happened was there was an album, Michelle's first record on Columbia Records, that, and this happens a lot in the business because of availability. It started where it was going to be half the album Weckl and half myself. Then it was going to be a quarter of the album me, half the album Weckl, a quarter Joel Rosenblatt, who had done the album before. Then it was going to be just me. Then it was going to be just me and Joel. It was a lot of conflicts because the record dates kept switching around. But bottom line is, under all those sort of circumstances, I was going to be on this album to some extent. At 18 years old, I thought to myself 2 things. I was being forced is a strong word, but practically forced to sound as Weckl as I could. I was hoping to try to invoke something of my own, not that I had a lot of my own to invoke, but if there was something I wanted to, I wasn't afforded that opportunity. So, I wanted to move on because I wanted to try to develop my own voice outside of Michelle Camilo's gig. So already at that point, I was thinking I wanted to leave that gig before the record. So 2 reasons why I left before the record. One was I didn't want to be on that record with a document for life on a huge record where everyone was listening to be sounding just like Weckl, which I would have. And it would have been etched in stone. Let me sound like Weckl the next day on somebody else's record where they don't tell me to sound like him, but I do anyway because I don't have anything of my own. But let me do it on my own terms.
Also, so they're going to bring in Weckl as well.
Yes.
But we want you to sound like Weckl. I
Yes.
mean, it just...
Yes.
The math is fuzzy on a couple of levels.
Well, Weckl did a great job on that music, and why wouldn't you want everyone? But then just get him.
Just get Weckl. Like, why is Weckl doing half?
Gotcha.
Weckl do all.
Right. I think he did half as it turned out, and I think Joe Rosenbaum ended up doing the other half. But long story long, at that time, I felt on a level of ethics I could not do the record. And as it turned out, Michelle Camilo, when I said, hey, I might want to do some gigs with this keyboardist, Ileana Elias. She's got Carnegie Hall. And Michelle goes, I've got Carnegie Hall also during that same festival. I literally quit Michelle's gig before the Carnegie Hall gig and before the record because I felt if I had waited to do Carnegie Hall and the record and then quit, I couldn't live with myself. I would have felt it wasn't the right thing on an ethical level. So it was that, and I didn't want a document of me sounding so similar to Weckl that was going to be there forever. So I quit the band. As it turned out, I didn't get to play Carnegie Hall. Ileana got the gig at Carnegie Hall and got Joel Rosenblatt, who Michelle also called to rejoin the band. Joel Rosenblatt played Carnegie Hall twice. He played with Michelle and Ileana, and I got 0. And it was my own doing because I didn't play that right in terms of I probably should have left Camilo earlier to do the gig with Ileana and committed, but I wanted to do the right thing on paper, and I would never probably do it any differently.
But you wouldn't go back and do it differently.
I don't think I would, but I turned. And
you ever play Carnegie Hall since?
I played snare drum at Carnegie Hall, so I did play. I wouldn't say I played drums at Carnegie Hall. I played drum at Carnegie Hall.
Page 8 of Georgetown.
Yeah, pretty much. I had a traditional grip and everything. So, but like I've had certain things in my career that have been like people shake their head. Why? What happened to him? He was so on pace to do this and that. Right. And companies have said to me in the past, Zach, you were going to be the guy, and I was like, what does that even really mean? I mean, I know what that means. I know exactly what that means, and I don't like what that means. And that's
that implication.
The guy.
What do you mean you were gonna be the guy?
Right.
That. What is that?
That means you were gonna be that person that takes that path, that gets the gig with, the Eric Claptons or the Stings of the world.
What is this, Ken Griffey Jr.? You know what I mean?
It is.
Do you know what I'm saying? Why isn't it enough to
You're
be
on the cover of NBA 2K?
Why wasn't it enough to be Ken Griffey Jr. with those numbers and what he did? And then it's like, oh, but you let us down. You were supposed you were supposed to be so much more. Bo Jackson, right? Bo Jackson didn't do enough.
You know what I mean? So.
I mean, what, are you kidding me?
Yeah. You could have. You could have been. So.
Zach, you failed us.
I failed it.
I mean,
I feel with 1,000,000,000% certainty that my best is ahead of me. It's not behind me.
I wouldn't doubt it.
If someone said, what's the best thing you've done so far, I'd point to something I did within the last week or so over anything I've done in the last 20 years. Most of the music listening population who've come up to me would argue that it's been the Wayne Krantz stuff. And I'm not going to argue back with them, but I feel it's the stuff I'm doing now, and that's no slight to the stuff 20 years ago, because that was really special as well. But at least I feel like it's better than saying, man, the good old days of 20 years ago.
No, I mean, I think that you got the right attitude. You're just looking forward. And
I'm so excited. Like, that's the thing. Some people go, Zach, you're jaded. And I think to be jaded has sort of an undertone of, it's not like it used to be. There's no hope. For me, I'm so excited.
And burned a lot.
Burned. I feel like the future is so exciting. And I can't wait for what's coming. I don't think that's the qualities of a jaded person. I think a jaded person has given up a little and is defeated by it.
Yeah,
I'm encouraged by it. I'm excited.
And you don't strike me as someone burned like that. Like
I've never been burned. I've had some things that have been misunderstood in the path of what someone might claim is what you should have done.
Okay, let me ask you, that was going to be one question. Have you ever been in situations, professional situations, where on a people skills level, you felt afterwards like, you know what? They didn't get me. Then that's what, like, things didn't go because they just didn't get you.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't actually. Gotcha. And I was thinking for a minute because maybe definitely not on a social level. Now they may go, boy, I didn't dig him on a social, but I didn't feel it wasn't like, hey, I was bringing it and you didn't get it. No. I think that's all cool. And I was thinking, did it apply maybe musically?
No, I didn't mean that actually.
But even musically,
musically.
I think.
I mean, just you, like in other words, like the whole idea of like going on the road with people, and it becomes just about like spending time in the van.
Oh, then maybe yes.
No, but that's okay.
I just thought of something.
That's what I'm saying.
No, because there's a lot of things that to me, I definitely have my opinions.
Like this was to say, there's a lot of guys that strike me as they're good at being.
They give good bus, as they say.
They give good bus, right? You got it. Thank you.
I give a certain type of good bus, but
you give on certain moments. I could see you give, but.
You're looking for a certain type
but actually, it's my kind of bus because I'd be sitting next to you going like, so anyway, this fucking, you know.
Let me just tell you.
That's my kind of bus.
I came in once in the middle of a tour with something called smooth jazz trading cards, okay? Now, let me explain.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I basically copped, you'd have to be a sports card collector, which a lot of drummers don't seem to be, but I was into cards in the 70s and early 80s. Yeah. So I'd have like what's known as a 1986 Don Russ rated rookie. And I don't want to say who I put in there, but I came up, I photoshopped some like choice artists for something I'd like to deem smooth jazz trading cards. To this day, they're fucking hysterical. I'm sorry.
This is good shit.
Yeah, is this politically correct?
We don't care.
You know what? What's worse? Saying something you feel or feeling something and not saying and behind your back just feeling that towards the person, To me, most like bigotry and racism, the people you have to watch are the people who are saying nothing.
That's
the people who joke about it
right.
And the people who are open about it are the people who truly are okay with it. It's that person who's like, oh, refer to them as that, not that. Well, you're trying to like delineate. Say what you want. I have no problem with anybody, but I'm not going to tiptoe either.
No, we don't tiptoe.
Come on. Actions speak louder than words.
I think this is New York stuff, too, I think.
It's New York stuff. So my point is, I'll make some irreverent smooth jazz trading cards, and they were funny.
That sounds funny to me.
They were funny.
I like that bit.
And I would have put myself in there 5 years prior and laughed at it, too. Let's just call it what it is. But I thought it was funny. But maybe like some people like, this guy's just like a little too outlandish or something, I wouldn't say... For the most part, I think that's why I get hired and not why I don't get hired. But
gotcha.
But I can see if someone's like, he's kind of pushes the envelope a little bit sometimes. So it's okay. It's all right. Because you ultimately want to end up with people who are not afraid to say something back to you.
That's right.
So what kind of glass house relationship do you want with people on the road if you're tiptoeing?
That's right.
I don't want to be with them.
No, it's actually nice sometimes to have someone who actually challenges you once in a while, and it's like, whoa, what?
Yeah. Let me have some more caffeine because I'm not jacked up enough, okay? Anyway, have some of this brownie.
I tell you, with so many girls walking around here, I'm pretty sure you can get a bump, if you know what I mean. Okay?
This is...
They'll sell you a dose for...
I'm clearly the least attractive gentleman in this place from what I'm looking at, but this place makes you look more attractive by default.
I just want to know, I do see a lot of women who just kind of seem to be wandering, walking in circles.
I don't think that's... 20 years ago I would have told you there was something else. Well,
no, but because they don't look like they're anything else. That's my point.
Right.
They really just look like they're wandering, walking around.
Little history. You go about a block away from where we are right now on 29th and Broadway on 5th. Go to those neighborhoods back in the 80s and 90s and you're in a cab and you get stopped at a stoplight. You do get a young lady coming up to your vehicle asking if you're interested in something or another.
Sure, that was back in the day.
Back in the day. It's not like that anymore. It's a nicer world,
Did you go to LaGuardia?
Good question. Did you go to LaGuardia?
No.
All right, then I did.
Okay.
As if I would have answered differently.
You did, right?
I went for 2 years.
How did I know that? See?
Well, I was going to be left back and not graduated from 10th to 11th grade because of something very serious, okay? Because I failed gym.
Yeah, I did that.
I failed gym. Now, how did you fail gym?
By not going.
That's how you fail gym in New York City. It's a New York State requirement.
It's a great class to cut.
It was the first class in the morning, and I didn't cut it. What happened was I was touring with a dance company as a drummer. I was 15 years old.
Better answer than I am.
Well, basically, you can not show up to social studies, math, English, Spanish for 10 days in a semester, and they can graduate you, but you can't do it with gym.
You can't get out of gym, kids.
You can't. So they said, your son's going to have to take gym in the summer. And I was already thinking of leaving the school and going back to my private school because I was going to be touring even more. So it was that, and it was also something very interesting where the head of the music department during Parent-Teacher Week said to my parents, please let your son Zach get a proper education because he really has shown no aptitude for music whatsoever. Please make sure he gets an education. To which my parents said, excuse me, he's on tour right now with touring with a bunch of adults playing music, and we are both musicians, so wow, okay. And you know what? You and I, as we sit here, we clearly know he was right.
That's some Jeff Porcaro shit, by the way.
Is that what happened?
Wasn't he on the row with Sonny and Cher at 15, 16?
He was something like that, yeah. So I thought it was hilarious that, had my parents been woodworkers or welders or whatever, and they took that guy at face value, I would have opened that restaurant by now.
Maybe.
You would have had a tapas restaurant right now.
You might be sweeping up that restaurant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
It could go
one of the two.
We don't know.
And maybe I would have been enjoying
How's your
either.
math skills?
Fantastic.
Really?
Used to be anyway, yeah.
For real?
For real. I had a high school math level in second grade. I used to teach the kids math in second grade.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
It's probably diminished, but yeah.
Do you watch Jeopardy and answer a lot of questions?
That's not math. That's
no. I'm asking. Do you watch Jeopardy?
I watch Jeopardy. I answer very few. I'm very poor at that sort of knowledge. Trivial Pursuit as well.
Trivial Pursuit,
not very good.
General knowledge, not really good.
Useless information, I'm fantastic at, but not useful information.
Right.
No, nothing of that.
Right.
Useless, I'm good at. Useful,
okay.
No.
You know who Alan Thicke is?
I know he's the father of Robin Thicke, and he wrote the theme to Wheel of Fortune. I don't know you didn't know this. Alan Thicke wrote the theme to Wheel of Fortune, and I'll say this for the record. In the band called Boomish, we had something called the Boomish theme song. Mr. Alan Thicke, or Robin, if you're listening, we used the Wheel of Fortune theme in the 70s. Not the one everyone knows, the one before it that only lasted a few years. You can YouTube it.
Who wrote that?
Alan Thicke.
No, but that's the one.
He wrote that one. That version he wrote, and we copied it for the Boomish theme song. We referenced it as a blueprint of the perfect theme song we wanted.
Of all names I had to pull out.
I had a story about him. Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. You asked me who Eisenhower was, and I said, I think he was a president. And actually, that might be an accurate answer. Anyway.
Never heard of him.
Okay. All right. So there we are. All right, what else we got? These are good questions.
Are they really, though?
I think so, yeah, they are. They're good.
I got someone over here on a laptop feeding me.
There's a teleprompter.
Now
there.
I'm out, you see?
They're still good questions.
She went to the bathroom, so now...
So the next question would be Fresh, which is, I think, a cameo tune, or Cool in the Gang? I think it's Cool in the Gang. What else? Fresh makes cosmetics. They make some decent lip balm if you have dry lips. It's true.
I want to know. I do want to know. I'm going to ask you, did you have comedians over at the house?
Yeah.
Who?
So there's this comedian named David Brenner in the 70s who used
I know
to come
David
over.
Brenner. I love David Brenner.
So David Brenner
and his lips?
Yeah, can't get...
Yeah.
David Brenner...
What happened to him?
He's, to me, the manifestation of the physical look of a pastrami sandwich. I mean, if you think
what happened to him?
David Brenner. I don't know what happened to David Brenner. But... And Richard Belzer was a similar look, but
the
David
Bells
Brenner,
the Bells.
I don't think the Bells came over, but David Brenner apparently, either him, Gabe Kaplan, and Welcome Back, Kotter, one of them apparently back in the day brought over, when I was a kid, a young comedian that was breaking in the business. We sat him on the casting couch, and ugly things happened, but that's a dark part of my... No, it's not true. Anyhow. Richard Lewis was in my living room, apparently.
Really?
Yes, and a very shy kid who was... You should hear this kid, he's a funny kid type story. And Richard Lewis, so years later, a friend of mine was friendly with Richard Lewis, and I think I got on either a text with him and I asked him if he remembered this, and he was either bullshitting me or he said he vaguely remembered something like that. But yeah, Richard Lewis.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, Zach, I think we're going to close it up.
That's amazing. You know what I'm most proud of?
That you didn't say any racist comments?
No, because I did. I think I'm most proud of that. Did we even talk drumming or music at all here?
Wait a minute. You're right. I forgot to ask you about your grip.
Very firm.
That just sounds we're not doing that. See,
that's about that.
No, we didn't discuss. You're right. No, we didn't really discuss.
And all the better.
What size kick drum and
all the better, right?
No, we didn't. There's really no need for that. I thought it was more important to know what comedians came over and.
I find it way more important. That's serious. Yeah.
Zach Danziger, thank you for showing me this place, by the way.
Thank you
Great
for coming here on a rainy day.
I appreciate it, man.
I do as well.
Thanks,
had a great
man.
time. You're welcome.
I did that. What? Do it.